Hey everyone, this is Russell again. Welcome back to module number 2 of the Funnel Builder Secrets Masterclass. Now today, we're going to be talking about the hook, the story, the offer, and the unboxing funnel. And I know some of you guys are wondering, like, Russell, I thought we're going to be building funnels in this. And we will be. Next module, we'll start going into this. But this is like all the Mr. Miyagi stuff. If you remember watching Karate Kid, when Mr. Miyagi grabbed Daniel's son and he was like, I want to learn karate. And he's like, okay, first thing you got to do is you got to wax these cars. And he gives him the waxing thing. And he's waxing the cars. And he ends up waxing like 50 cars. And then he's like, okay, I'm ready to learn karate. He's like, cool, come over here. You need to paint this fence. So he's like, paint it up and then paint it down. And he's doing all these like weird exercises. And finally, Daniel's son gets upset, comes over to Mr. Miyagi. He's like, I thought I was going to learn karate, not do your yard work for you. And then Mr. Miyagi throws a punch at him. And instinctively, Daniel's son's like, whoosh, whoosh, wax on, wax off, paint the fence, and starts blocking all his hits. And he realizes this whole time he's actually learning the thing. And so that's what today is about, is some stuff that is probably the most important part about funnels. Building a funnel is not difficult. It used to be back in the day. When I got started, it was. ClickFunnels has made that process so simple and so easy. So that part's not hard. The hardest part is like, how do you create stuff that's sexy enough that people want to give you money? How do you position it and things like that? In fact, I wrote my first book. The .com Secrets book is all about like kind of the science behind funnel building and how it works and how the fun, like stuff we talked about in module number 1, a lot of those kind of things and how things work together. And this, when we launched this book, was the first book I wrote. And what was cool about it is people started understanding funnels and started doing them. But even inside the ClickFunnels community, I think at about the time that I was kind of doing the research, we had about 20,000 members then, and a lot of people were stuck. And I started looking at it, and the reason why they were stuck is they had these funnels that functionally had the right process, but there was no, like the way they structured their offers was wrong. The way they had the copy, the headlines, the words, the stories, all that stuff didn't work very well. And it's like having a really good store with a salesperson who doesn't know how to sell, or no salesperson at all. And so that's when I decided to write the second book, which is called Expert Secrets. And some people look at Expert Secrets like, well, Russell, I'm not trying to be an expert. I am selling flashlights or soap or whatever it is, right? And they don't understand is this is not so much about becoming an expert, that's part of it, but the biggest part is like understanding like how do you persuade people, like what do you get people, how do you get someone to click on your ad, how do you get them when they come to your page to actually give you their email address, how do you get them on the next page then to go and like scramble to find their wallet and give you money, and then on the next page like, oh, and they give you money again, and like how do you create those things? And it's learning this process, like how to tell stories and how to understand persuasion and psychology and things like that. And so these two books work really good. It's, again, I talked about this yesterday, but it's the science and the art. And so today I'm going to be talking a little bit more about the art side of it, which is how do we weave the messages into the funnels? Because if you understand that piece, then your funnels blow up. When our members as a whole start understanding the psychology side of this and the selling side of it, it's when I started seeing people's companies blow up and explode. And so I want to spend some time with you guys kind of going over some of that stuff right now, because it's important and it's going to help you a lot. So that's kind of the game plan. All right. So with that said, the first thing I want to talk about is a really simple process. I keep trying to figure out how to simplify this more and more and more and more. And this is even one step simpler than the Expert Secrets book, but it's the core fundamental part. And it's a 3-part process called hook, story, and the offer. Okay, so just so you know where we're going, the hook is like, how do you grab somebody? And like, you know, right now there's so much stuff happening. If you're on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or Google, anywhere, there's like a million things happening all the time. So how do you grab someone in the middle of this stuff and sit them down and like get their attention long enough you can actually tell them something, right? That's number 1. Number 2 is how do you tell the story about the thing that you're selling, right? People buy based on story. They buy based on emotions and how they feel. So that's step number 2, is how do you tell the story in the right way. And number 3, how do you create an offer that people actually want? Okay, so that's where we're going with hook, story, offer. And after we have that offer, then I'm going to show you guys the concept of the unboxing funnel, which is how we reverse engineer that to actually create the funnels. Everything we talked about, in module number 1. So that's kind of the game plan. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I hope you enjoy this. Hope you're taking notes. And just like everything, after you watch the strategy video, make sure you log in the members area, because we'll have practical videos showing exactly how to do each of the pieces that'll help you on your journey. All right, so with hook, story, offer, I'm actually going to start on the end because it's the foundation point, and then we're going to move backwards. So we're going to start with offer, story, hook, even though it's hook, story, offer. I'm going to start initially with offer, because if you understand this piece of it, this whole game becomes so much easier. Now, the problem with most businesses is that they're not selling an offer. They haven't created an offer for someone. What most businesses do is they create a product. Okay, and in fact, if you look at the world as a whole, businesses are all taught about like you need to create a product and then go find somebody to buy that product. Like that's what people think about. But the problem with the product is that by definition, it is a commodity. It's a thing, right? So an example I'll give you is this phone right here, right? So this is an iPhone, and if you go online, there are tons of companies that sell this phone, right? Obviously, you can get it at Apple, but you can also get it at Best Buy and I was gonna say Samsung, can't get it there. Best Buy, you can get it on 1,000 websites, on eBay, on like everywhere in the world sells this phone, right? And the thing about this phone is that it's a commodity, right? So who wins when I try to buy this phone? Okay, or if I try to buy this marker, if I try to buy this eraser, if I try to buy this water bottle, whatever it is I'm trying to buy, right? Who wins? Typically with a commodity, with a product, the person with the lowest price always wins, right? It's a race to the bottom. So like when I'm on Amazon or on eBay or on Google searching for something that I know I need this thing, I'm looking for who's got the cheapest price because that's what happens. So it's always this race to the bottom. And one of my very first mentors, his name is Dan Kennedy, he said that if you can't be the lowest price leader in town, there's no strategic advantage of being the second lowest price leader in town. But there is a huge strategic advantage about being the most expensive. So for me, I'm always thinking, how do I don't want to keep making my prices cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. How do I create where the value of what I'm creating goes up and up and up, right? That's the magic. And so that's what we're going to be talking about. So I'm going to do an exercise with you guys that should help make sense. So right now, this phone, I don't know how much they cost. Let's say it's $500, right? So if you were to go to Apple, Amazon, eBay, wherever, you're probably going to get this phone for, let's say, $500, almost anywhere, right? So what I'm going to teach you guys today is how do I increase the value of this thing that I'm selling where I can sell this for $5,000, 10 times what everyone else is selling it for, right? Okay, so everyone else is selling this as a phone. So if I was to go and create an offer, so when I create an offer, I traditionally like making it kind of like a slide. And so like the slide and say what you're gonna get. Okay, so this is what you're gonna get. So the first thing you're gonna get if you buy this phone is you get the iPhone. Okay, and what's the value of an iPhone? Let's say it's $497, okay? So that's what most people stop, okay? And so now I'm selling an iPhone just like everybody else, and so it's a race to the bottom. Whoever can get it the cheapest is going to get the service or the fastest or whatever. So for me, if I want to compete, I want to decommoditize this. I want to make it so it's no longer a commodity. So I'm going to make this worth, this phone, I'm going to try to sell this for $5,000. In fact, I did this exercise the other day and had somebody offer me $10,000 for the offer I actually made. So watch this. So this phone's for $500. I'm going to make this worth a whole bunch more by turning it into an actual offer. So when you buy this phone from me, you can buy an iPhone anywhere, but if you buy it from me, the thing that's different about this special is I'm going to put in a whole bunch of really, really cool things. First thing I'm going to do is I'm part of a secret group. People pay $100,000 a year to be part of that group. Now, I actually went and in that group, we do business presentations about how to grow and scale a company. So I paid $100,000 to be in. I've been in 2 years now, so it's cost me $200,000 to be part of it. Everyone else in the room's done that. I paid $100,000, and that's the only people that have been in there. But what's cool about it is the guy who runs the group, he's recorded all the videos of all the presenters in the group for the last 2 years. And so I got access to all those videos, and I put them on the phone here. So the second thing you're going to get is you're going to get access to 2 years worth of videos from a group that people paid $100,000 a year to be part of. So you're going to get the 100K videos. The value of that, let's see if you can read my handwriting. Value of that, if I was to try to sell on street, like $997, right? $9,997, okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing you're gonna get is right now for coaching, on average I charge between $150,000 to $200,000 a day for private consulting. People come here in the office. If someone wants to set up a call with me, usually it's somewhere between $15,000 and $25,000 an hour, depending on my mood at the time, completely honest. But the second thing, there's an app on here. It's called Voxer. It's like a walkie-talkie app. So instead of like coming in and doing a full day consultation for $100,000, $200,000 or more, what I'm gonna do instead, I'm gonna put this walkie-talkie app called Voxer. And anytime you have questions, you can just click a button and Vox me, and I'll answer your most pressing business questions anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if I can't answer it, I'll forward it to someone on my team who can help it. That way, any question you have will always get answered. So the second thing in my offer is Voxer, access to Russell. Okay, value of that is at least $25,000. What else? The third thing is I actually, in the last 10 years of my business, have bought about $300,000 worth of marketing and sales and persuasion courses. I had my brother take every one of those courses and turn them from a big old CD stack and DVDs into audiobooks, and I have every single one of them on here. So basically my $300,000 library is all on this phone as well. So you get access to the $300,000 library. 300K library. If you try to buy that, you're paying 300K for that. And then the last thing, I have the personal cell phone numbers of Tony Robbins, Ivanka Trump, Glenn Beck, a whole bunch of really amazing people. And you get all their phone numbers on here as well. So celebrity phone numbers. And so total value now of all those things is a whole bunch of stuff. I will sell you this phone for $5,000. Okay? How many of you guys pay $5,000 for this phone? So what's the difference? It's the exact same phone, same product, right? It's because I didn't just make it a product, I made an offer. I bundled stuff to make the value go up, okay? There's two ways to win in this game. You're creating an offer, right? Number one is you lower the price, okay? Because what happens when you lower the price, then you're more likely to sell. Number two is you increase the value, and in people's mind, the price got cheaper. This $500 phone is now worth at least $100,000 to the right hands, probably a lot more for most people, right? And so now, because I did that, because I created an offer, $500 seems super, super cheap right now. Even though for some of you guys, $500 seemed a lot when I was selling just as a phone. Okay, so I'm creating an actual offer. Okay, this is the secret, just so you guys know, in case you're wondering. When people are like, oh, Russell, my funnel's not working. Oh, I'm selling this thing, and my company's going through bankruptcy. I'm failing. I'm not having success. Like all sorts of stuff. I look at, what are you selling? They show me. And 99.999% of the time, they are selling a product. I said, this is the problem. Right now, you have a product and you're competing with a whole bunch of other people. I do this with my chiropractor friends, my financial planners, my dentists, my network marketers, like all over the place. And the problem is they're selling the exact same thing everyone else is selling. They're selling a commodity. And so everyone's fighting to get the cheapest price. And eventually, they can't sustain business and the whole thing goes under. And they lose their company, lose their business. And it's a painful thing. And so for me, I'm like, instead of like fighting to get the lowest price thing, how do you create so much value that what you're selling seems insanely cheap? That's the magic we're talking about here, okay? So a couple more examples. So we did with the cell phone example. Let's just say I had a company and I was selling DVDs, right? Movie DVDs. Okay. Again, a commodity. Like you can buy movie DVDs anywhere, right? And so a movie that came out recently was The Greatest Showman, and so I could go and put it on a website and sell a DVD for $20 or whatever people normally sell it for, right? But I want to turn this into an actual offer instead of commodity. So how do I do that? I got to create an offer. How do I create something amazing that increases the value of that DVD? So I could say, hey, you can buy this DVD on Amazon for $20, or if you buy it from my website, what I'm going to do is, first off, I'm going to give you the DVD. It is actually going to be more expensive. Instead of $20, I'm going to sell it for $100. But this is why you should pay me more for it, because the Greatest Showman DVD is all about the life story of a guy named P.T. Barnum. Who's P.T. Barnum? I'm going to the story, by the way, here, right? Who's P.T. Barnum? Or P.T. Barnum, he was one of America's greatest entrepreneurs of all time. He started the circus. He did all these different things you see about in the movie. But did you know that P.T. Barnum also, he wrote, I think, 5 or 6 different books, all on business, entrepreneurship, selling? Okay, how would you like to know from the greatest showman in the world how in the world he did that? Well, the cool thing is that he's written these 5 books, and by the way, all these books are in the public domain. We'll talk about that another time, so I can republish them. So if you buy The Greatest Showman from me, I'm also going to give you the ebook copies of 5 of P.T. Barnum's books that he actually wrote. Okay. The next thing is one of my friends wrote a book about P.T. Barnum, about his life, met him online, and so I actually called him on the phone and I interviewed him for 2 hours saying, from all the stuff you learned about P.T. Barnum, what is it that someone like me who's got an internet business, what could I use to be able to, from P.T. Barnum's life story that could help me inside of my actual business? And for 2 hours, he told me every single thing. Now, this author normally charges $25,000 an hour to speak or to coach or consult, and he spent 2 hours with me. So it's $50,000 worth of value he spent with me explaining exactly how he would use all P.T. Barnum stuff inside of my specific business. Okay, and I got a recording of that, plus I got it transcribed. So you get the recordings and the transcripts, okay? So first thing, you get a DVD, then you're gonna get all 5 of P.T. Barnum's books. Next thing, you're gonna get 2 hours audio recording of the #1 expert in P.T. Barnum explaining how this relates back to entrepreneurship for me. Number 4, 2 other books from the same era that P.T. Barnum was around, Think and Grow Rich and the Master Key System. I also got the rights to those 2 books. I'm gonna throw those in as well. You're gonna get all these things for $100 when you buy the DVD from me instead of buying it from Amazon. Okay? What did I do? I increased the value. All of a sudden, that DVD becomes very, very valuable. Now, that may not be valuable to everybody, right? And this comes back to like picking your market and a lot of other cool things we talk about in Expert Secrets. But for entrepreneurs, if that's who I'm going after is entrepreneurs, I know, okay, what do entrepreneurs like about this? So like, okay, they want to know his story. They want to understand his salesmanship, all the things that he did. I can go and create an offer based around that. Okay, so you can do it with something like that. Some people, you may or may not know, I'm one of the top super affiliates in the world, And people always ask me, how in the world do you win all these affiliate contests? I've literally won a Ferrari in affiliate contest. I've won cars. I've won pinball machines. I've won games. I've won trips. I've won a lot of stuff. And people always ask me, how do you win these affiliate contests? And this is what happens, okay? In an affiliate contest, there's a whole bunch of people all promoting the same product, right? And so what happens is everyone's got the same thing. They're all selling this product, right? And then it could be anything. It could be a course. It could be a physical product. It could be whatever, right? So everyone's selling the same product. All I do is I turn that product into an offer. I say, okay, well, if you buy this product from any other affiliate, you're going to get the product. But if you buy it from me, you get the product plus check out the other things I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you this and give you this. And I create an offer for them. Okay? And the people out there looking for who they should buy from, they all buy from me as opposed to all the other affiliates because they know that if they buy from me, they get all this other stuff. They actually get a huge offer. Okay, so that's another example. Network marketing. The Ferrari one was actually a network marketing program. I became the #1 money earner in a company within 30 days because everyone was selling the same product. Okay, so what did I do? I'm like, hey, I'm selling the same product as 300,000 other distributors. What should I do? I need to make an offer. So I took that and said, okay, if you buy from anybody else, you get the product just like me, but if you buy from me, you're also gonna get this and this and this. I created a package of digital information products, physical products, a bunch of things to actually make an offer. And I outsold everybody else, became #1 money earner in the company in 30 days. Chiropractor, one of my buddies here locally is a chiropractor who started becoming really good at funnels. And what's interesting, he did the same thing. He was out there initially, like even from my house to go to his office, I passed, 7 or 8 different chiropractors on the road to get to his office. But I go there because he's my friend, right? And I asked him one day, I was like, what are you selling different than everybody else? And he's like, well, we're all selling adjustments. They're all about the same price point. And sometimes we fight on pricing. We get bonuses and discounts and, Groupons and all sorts of stuff. And I was like, what if instead of doing that, what if you created a really good offer? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't know. What else do people who come to get adjusted need that you could offer him? He's like, well, we adjust somebody, we could give someone a foam roller. And I'm like, okay. So when someone comes to adjustment for him, they're like, you get the adjustment just like everybody else. But for me, you also get a foam roller on your first visit, which is, costs him like $8 or whatever. But in the perceived value is like a couple $100 for foam roller. He gives them some supplements. He gives them other things. And he creates this offer. So the first time somebody comes in, you get this huge kit of stuff for free that you don't get at any other chiropractor. And suddenly people are passing 3, 4, 5 different chiropractors to come to him. They're leaving their existing ones to come to him because his offer is so much better than theirs. Okay? So I don't care what business you're in, you gotta start thinking about this as an offer. Okay? And is what I'm selling right now, is it just a product? Is it a commodity? Am I competing against everybody else right now? And if so, you start thinking, okay, how do I turn this into an offer? What else of value can I provide people? And what's cool about it is, especially nowadays with offers, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be physical, a physical product or more services. There's so many digital things you can do. You can do, like the P.T. Barnum example, all of his books are in the public domain, meaning you can republish them, you can give them to people for free and keep all the royalties. You can sell them and keep the money because they're published before the copyright laws here in America started. You can do that. There's information products. There's interviews with experts. As a chiropractor, you could go interview the #1 leading person on back pain. For dentists, you could interview the top people on whatever. Financial planners, you could find the authors who've written 20 books on financial planning. You can interview them. That becomes part of the offer. There's so many different ways to do that. In fact, when you go in the members area, one of the videos that's in there is a training that I went through and created called Product Secrets, which is all about this. It goes through 20 or 30 different ways to create products really, really quickly. And you take a bunch of products, you mush them together, you get an offer. And so as you're thinking through this for yourself, how do I create an actual offer? Go watch that training and go in the members area because it'll help give you ideas of I could do that and I could do that and there's all these things that will open up to your mind. They're really simple to make. They don't cost money most of the times. And if so, it's very, very inexpensive. Okay, so I create the offer. Okay, so we talked about hook, story, offer. So here is offer. Okay, so now I'm gonna go backwards to phase number 2. With the product, it's not that hard to sell typically, because again, it's someone's looking for an iPhone, they're gonna come to look for an iPhone. But if I'm gonna be selling an iPhone for $5,000 or $10,000 or more, I need to have a story. Why is this worth so much? The story increases the value of whatever it is you're selling, okay? And so that's kind of the key here is how do I increase the value of the offer by telling the right story? Because if I just would have told you, hey, there's a phone here, it's got a bunch of training for a bunch of cool people on it, you probably wouldn't want it. But I start telling you about the Genius X group, the 100K group, and I start telling you about all the courses, and I tell you the story behind it, suddenly becomes very, very exciting. Now, inside the Expert Secrets book, if you guys want to dive deep into story, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here. I walk through story diagrams and give you maps and just show you exactly how to craft stories. But I wanted in this training just to kind of go over the basic core concepts, because this is where a lot of people struggle with it first. But when you're becoming good at this, it makes selling really, really easy. And so I want you guys to understand this. So the story I want to tell you to help you understand the story, this actually happened probably 2 years ago or so. There's a network marketing company that I'm involved with. And it's interesting because I helped them to write a sales video that they use that basically tells the story of their offer, right? And so they made this video and people put it on their phones and they run around and they show the video and then people sign up. And they've built a multi-$100-million-a-year company by leveraging that one story. And so they wanted me to come to this event to like speak to them about basically whatever I want to talk about. And so I get to this room, and it's funny, when I show up at the hotel, and as I get in there, I'm checking in my bags and stuff, and I look around, and I see all these people who are part of the company. And the company is selling a drink that puts your body into ketosis, right? And so these people are all health and fitness related. They're all in spandex. They all have t-shirts that say like, ketones are greater than glucose, and like all these things, right? And they get so excited. And I was watching these people as I see people like coming across the lobby, and they get all excited. They run over like, hey, how's it going? Like, I bet you right now you're burning glucose. You know that? You should be burning ketones. And people are like, what? And get scared and they run away, right? And I'm watching this happening 3 or 4 times. I'm just kind of like, man, these guys are not doing a very good job of like presenting this offer. And then I had a chance to go and speak to the top leadership team in this company. I think there were about 100 people or so. And I walk into the room, and I get there, and the owner of the company, he didn't give me too much of a heads up. He's like, you're up right now. And I'm like, well, what do you want me to talk about? He's like, whatever you want. And he goes up on stage, and he introduces me, and I'm like, I don't know what do you talk about. So he introduces me, I walk on stage, I look out there, I start looking at everybody, I'm like, what am I going to talk about? And all of a sudden, it hit me. I looked at all these people, and I said, okay. And I looked at him, I looked out in the audience, and I said, okay, I want to show you guys something. I started drawing a little picture, and I drew this picture of this person. And I said, this is a normal human being. How many of you guys remember being normal? Before you got excited about ketones and entrepreneurship and business, all sorts of things. How many of you guys remember when you were like a normal person, right? And all of them kind of remember. And I said, okay. And then I'm like, something happened, right? You were on this journey, life was normal, everything was fine. And then something happened, and it caused you to go on this journey, right? And you had an epiphany. I call this an epiphany, P-I-P-H-A-N-Y. Something happened where you're like, oh my gosh, like I need to start drinking this product that puts me into ketosis, right? Or, oh my gosh, I need a funnel. Or, oh my gosh, I need to whatever your thing is, right? For everyone's business, I want you to think about this through your own lens. Something happened that sent you on this journey, right? And you had this emotional experience where all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, this is it, this is everything, right? So you start on this journey, you start coming over here, and then what happens is after that process, you're completely sold. Like, I'm all in, and then you start getting interested in like, why does this work? And how does this work? And you start geeking out, right? I'm gonna put little glasses on this guy here so you can, that represents geeking out, right? You start geeking out, you start studying everything. And so I'm looking out in this room, I said, how many people in this room understand the science behind ketosis? And they're all like, wow, and they're flipping out excited. And like, how many people, and I've asked them all these questions, and then I stopped and I said, how many of you guys signed up because you're so excited about the beta hydroxybutyrate salts inside of the drink? Nobody raised their hand. And I was like, why did you guys get started in this program? And they're sitting there for a minute, and one guy raised his hand. He's like, well, I got started because I was overweight. I was struggling. I was having issues, and one of my friends brought this thing over, and I drank it, and it was like drinking candy, and it tasted really good. He said, hey, if you drink this and you eat this certain way, you can actually lose weight. And I was like, if I drink this all, that'd be amazing, right? He had this epiphany, and so he started drinking. He started losing some weight. And he's like, how am I losing weight? And he started geeking out and all sorts of stuff. And I said, okay, when you approach people to tell them about this, like, do you tell them that story, or do you lead with like the beta hydroxybutyrate salts? And he's like, and kind of laughed. I said, this is the biggest problem that almost everyone has. We come in this stage right here, right? We geek out, and we start learning the technobabble. And I told him, I was watching you guys earlier today in the lobby as you were pouncing on people and explaining the technobabble, all the technical reasons why you believe this thing is true. I said, the problem is that you didn't buy because of that. Nobody buys because of the technobabble. This is like killing all of your sales. Okay? The reason why you bought was something emotional that happened to you. You had an emotional experience that made you buy something, and over here you logically convinced yourself that you were right. Okay? Everybody buys emotionally and they logically justify it, right? The person who goes to the car dealership and sits in a Lamborghini or Ferrari the first time, he's like, oh, he has an emotional experience. He goes and he buys it and he drives it home, and his friends are like, you bought a Ferrari? What does he say? Oh, well, it gets really good gas mileage, and like they don't break down that often. He logically tries to convince everybody else that's why. But he knows, and you know, that was not the reason why he bought it. He bought it because emotionally was connected. right? And I told these people, I said, if you try to spew technobabble, you're never gonna get people to move you with you into your company. You just come back and remember, what is the story behind why you do what you do? Tell them that story, tell them why you had that epiphany, and if you do it in the right way, they will have the same epiphany and they will sign up, they'll give you money, and they'll logically convince themselves, okay? But if you try to logically sell somebody, you will never have success, you're never gonna have luck, okay? And that's the biggest problem most of us have with selling, is we're trying to logically convince people that this iPhone's the best because it's got this many gigahertz and megahertz and all sorts of stuff and blah, 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 blah. That's not why people buy the iPhone, right? It's not why people buy my books or the courses, or ClickFunnels as a software, right? You don't buy ClickFunnels because you're like, oh, well, Russell's got a drag and drop builder. It's like, no, because I told you a story you emotionally connected with, and you're like, wow, I could do that for my business, right? It's the story that gets people to care about the offer. The story increases the value of the offer. The story is the key that unlocks all this stuff, okay? And so in everything we're gonna be doing inside a funnel, story is the key. It's the glue. It's what weaves people. It's what moves them from the ad to the landing page, to the sales page, to the upsell page, to the thank you page and beyond. It's the story that weaves people through it, okay? So you have to understand, like, that's the key, is understanding the story. So for you, when you're creating your offer, it's like, what's the story? Like, why did I create this? Okay, as I was telling you the examples of some of my offers, like the PT Barnum one or the phone one, like I was telling you stories about, like, this is what happened, this is why I went together, and it got really, really exciting, right? So you have the story that leads to the offer. This is why I created the offer. This is why you need it. Let me explain what it is, okay? So there's the second one. So we've got offer, story. That leads me back to number one, which is the hook. Hook, story, offer. Okay, so the hook, this is where you've got all of these people and there's so much noise and there's just like a million things happening, right? They're on Facebook, Instagram, they're looking, all these things are happening. Your job right here is to set a hook. Whoosh, here's a little fishing hook. We're gonna grab them and get them to turn away and focus on you, okay? There's one of my friends, Myron Golden, he wrote some really good definitions for these three things I want to share right now. Number one, he said, a hook is the thing that stops you in your tracks and changes the direction of your attention. Okay, it's the thing that grabs you. It might be a headline, might be a video, might be an ad, might be a button, might be an image, but something that grabs you and makes you stop scrolling, okay? Think of next time you're on Facebook or Instagram, you're scrolling through here and something stops and you click on it, that was a hook. They hooked you, something grabbed you. What was the thing that made you stop your scroll to look, okay? That's the hook. The hook then leads directly into the story. So you see the ad, you're like, huh, and you click on it, you start reading, or you watch a video, or you listen to something, it tells you the story. The story increases desire for you to buy the offer. So the hook is the thing that stops you in your tracks and changes the direction of your attention. You're grabbing them and sitting down, so you're focusing one-on-one. Now you have their attention, okay? Now comes the story. The story is this historical or metaphorical experience of people that your ideal client can relate to emotionally, justify logically, remember perpetually, that causes them to feel like they know you genuinely, like you, and believe they can trust you. Okay? Tell the right story, they're going to feel like they know you, they're going to like you, they're going to trust you, and they're going to be more likely to buy. And then the offer here is the opportunity to give them to exercise their desire to buy the thing or the things that you have helped them realize they've desired all along at the price that you previously decided on and they have subsequently agreed to, that they fully expect to make their experience of life exponentially better. Okay? So that's it. Hook, story, offer. Now, in a minute, I'm going to kind of show you guys how this stuff all weaves together, but I want to go a little bit deeper here on the hook because this is the one I think people struggle with the most. The offer gets fun. You start figuring out, like, hey, how do I make this better and better and better so people have to buy my thing, okay? I do this all the time with my friends. I'm like, I want you to give me $100. And they're like, well, why? I'm like, okay, give me $100 for this marker. They're like, no. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna give you this marker plus I'm gonna give you this. And they're like, no. And I keep doing it until the offer is worth $100. As soon as they give me $100 for whatever it is, I'm like, cool. Now I know that offer I created is worth the $100 I'm asking for, right? So I do it as a game sometimes, but I do it with my kids sometimes. But you can do it with your customers, right? If nobody's buying your thing, it's like my offer's not good enough. So how do I make the offer better? How do I increase the offer? How do I make it more valuable? Okay, so we're always thinking about how to make this offer more valuable. Okay, that's the story. Like getting back in your mind, like what was the thing that got me excited by this thing? Like for me, why was I excited about funnels? When I launched ClickFunnels, I'm like, why am I so excited about funnels? Like how do I explain this to people? And it was hard because at first I'm like trying to help people understand, like, oh yeah, maximizes the profit per value of every customer comes through, and you get higher click-through rates, and like blah, blah, blah. I was like trying to pitch these people on technobabble, and everyone's like, I don't know what you're talking about, Russell. I'm like, well, why was I excited about funnels? I had to go back in time and remember, like, oh, I was 22 years old, and I was trying to sell my very first my very first product online, I was selling a DVD teaching people how to make potato guns. Some of you guys have heard this story before. And I set up a DVD, it was a website, and I had the picture of the DVD and an order button, and I was going to Google and buying Google ads, and I started actually selling them. And I was spending, I don't know, $10 to $20 a day on ads, and I was selling DVD for $37. And so I was making a little bit of money. It was awesome. And then Google came and they changed their algorithms, and they made ads more expensive. It used to be really cheap back in the day. You guys, we all miss the good days. But they got more expensive, and so I wasn't able to make money anymore. And it was kind of frustrating. And then I ended up turning all my websites off because I was losing money. And one day I got a call from my friends. He said, Russell, I figured it. I cracked the code. I'm like, well, what does that mean? He said, and he started telling me his epiphany he had. He said, I started adding, he's like, you know when you go to McDonald's and you order a Big Mac, and the first question they ask every single time is what? I'm like, do you want fries with that? He's like, yeah, it's an upsell. I'm like, yeah. That's like, duh, it's an upsell. And he's like, do you want fries and Coke with that? He said, I'm doing the same thing now in my product. Someone buys my first thing, then the next page in the funnel, he didn't call it the funnel, the next page, I offer to upsell them on something else. And I was like, I'm like, how would that work for my potato gun DVDs? He's like, well, I don't know, what do people who buy your potato gun DVD, what do they need? I'm like, well, next thing I had to do, I have to go Home Depot and I have to buy the pipes and the barbecue igniters and all that kind of stuff. He's like, what if you sold them a kit that had all that stuff in it? I was like, that's amazing. So I found a guy who would put together these potato gun kits, and that became my upsell. So someone would buy my DVD, and on the next page they would go and they would buy the kit. What happened is Google's ads still were more expensive. So I spent $50 in ads. I would sell a $37 DVD, so I lose some money, but then 1 out of 3 people paying $200 potato gun kit, and suddenly I was profitable again. And now I was the #1 potato gun DVD seller online for a long time because I was the only one that could make the numbers work because of a funnel. And a funnel changed my life. And so I tell that story, and people are like, oh my gosh, I need a funnel too. So I tell the story to help me to understand why I needed it. And people go on that same story. And right now, if you look inside of my community, we have 65,000 active members. All these guys are geeking out on technobabble. Like, they're studying my books, my courses, and they're like doing their own testing. And like, people will take care of the logical stuff themselves. You just have to emotionally grab them and explain the thing, okay? But the last piece here is the hook. Like, the hook is how you get somebody to actually listen to your story. And it gets harder and harder and harder. The more people who are advertising online, the harder it is to get your message out there, right? Because there's so much noise and so much things. So how do you create a hook that's really gonna be good? One of my favorite ones, I'm gonna tell you guys, this is one of our ClickFunnels members, and I mean, I could share 1,000 different stories, but one of them is a guy named Drew Manning. He owns a company called Fit to Fat to Fit, okay? And what's interesting about Drew's story is Drew was a personal trainer, and I think he was like most personal trainers, and he had an offer. He was selling his personal training services and things like that, and he was doing relatively well. But what he didn't have is he didn't have like a story, right? The biggest problem I've noticed with most personal trainers is like, not all of them, but most of them have been fit their whole life, right? So you see an overweight person and they meet with a trainer, and the problem is the trainer's like, well, the person's like, well, you've never been fat like me. You don't know what it's like. And there's this big resistance, right? And so Drew understood that, so he said, I need my own story. Like, I need to create a story. He said, what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna actually gain weight. I'm gonna see what it feels. I'm gonna gain a whole bunch of weight. I'm gonna go from being fit to being fat, and I'm gonna try to lose it again. That way I can share my story with people, and they'll be more likely to listen to me, and like I have a really good story now. Okay, so that became the story and also became the hook, right? So he actually did that. And this was like, before he was a big internet guru or anything, he was just a trainer doing this on the side. He started gaining some weight, and he ended up gaining, I think, 40 or 50 pounds. And because the hook of this story was so good, it started catching on. And eventually he got on like Jay Leno and a whole bunch of shows. Like, in fact, there's videos of him on his ads of him on Jay Leno, like at like, I don't know, 250 pounds, huge dude, and at the peak of his fat phase before he started getting fit again. And then he went dark, he lost it all, and came back on, boom, and he was fit, right? And so now what's crazy is, if you look at his ads, right? So the ads usually where the hook begins, but the hook's everywhere. Like, there's a hook in like why someone opens the email, there's a hook when someone clicks on the ad, there's a hook on like why someone gives you the email. Like, there's hooks happening throughout, as I'll show you here in a minute. But his hook was so good. The hook is, I'm gonna show you how I went from being fit to fat to fit. Okay, you're scrolling through the news feed, like that's something that grabs, hook that grabs you, right? Then that gives you a second to like, he listens to a story, he tells the story. I was a personal trainer. I was always in shape, so I decided to gain a bunch of weight and to lose it all so I could have the whole thing. So he tells the story being fit to fat to fit. And then he comes back and says, so because of that, I created a special offer for you. It's gonna show you how I did it, show you how to lose weight as well. And he creates this offer where he goes through the whole thing and he actually sells it, okay? So Drew takes this thing, he puts it out there, and within, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, goes from 0 to being in our ClickFunnels 2 Comma Club, meaning he made over $1 million inside of his funnel because he had a really good hook, a really good story that sold his offer, okay? So hook, story, offer, that's That's the magic, you guys. When I was selling ClickFunnels, the same kind of thing, right? I started with the offer, which was just ClickFunnels. And I was like, okay, if I'm gonna sell this, I need to make it even better. So most of you guys who are watching this, you probably bought ClickFunnels. It probably came with the Funnel Builder Secrets Masterclass, and came with funnel scripts, and came with all these things, right? I made a really, really good offer. And I told my story, and I had different hooks to get people to listen to my story. Because if I said, hey, I'm gonna be doing a webinar about how to build a funnel, like that's the story. Or how I made a potato gun funnel. Like that's the story, but it's not the good hook. So I had to figure out what's the hooks to get somebody in. So I had different hooks. When I was going after small business owners, my hook was the death of a website. Websites are dead. Let me show you what's happening. Let me show you the future, where things are going, okay? That's a hook that gets a certain type of audience to come in and start listening. Okay, when I was going after traditional internet marketers who knew what a funnel was, my hook was, who wants to see behind the scenes of my weird niche funnel that's currently making me $17,947 per day, and how you can ethically knock it off in less than 10 minutes. Okay, there's a hook. Like, wait, what? What's a weird funnel? Like, I want to know what the funnel is. Like, it's making you $17,000 a day, and how can somebody ethically knock something out? It doesn't make any sense, right? So that hooks somebody, which gets enough time to get their attention. Then I can tell them the story. Okay, all right, here's the story. I have the supplement company called Nurse, and I told the whole Nurse story about how I had the Nurse I built, and I tell the story about that whole thing, and I show ClickFunnels how it works, and then boom, I make the offer of ClickFunnels, boom. Okay, that hook, that story, that offer built a $100 million a year company for me. Okay, so it's always about like the hook that grabs in the story that emotionally impacts them, and then the offer where they can actually take action and they can move on. Now, one other thing that I want to I won't go too deep into this because this is stuff that you'll get deeper into expert secrets. But like typically, when I'm creating an offer like this. This is kind of the ninja stuff, right? The Mr. Miyagi thing. So there's a hook story offer for like your core thing you're selling, but then typically what happens is like each of these components here inside of your offer, there's also a hook and a story. The hook and the story. Okay, the hook and the story, what it does is it increases the value of this thing. Okay? So for example, if I said, hey, there's some marketing videos on this thing that are really valuable, you'll get it as part of it. People are like, oh, cool, right? That's not that good. So listen to the hook again. I did this earlier for you, okay? I'm part of a group where people pay $100,000 a year to be in a room with about 10 of us to discuss the top marketing and sales and psychology in the world. It's the most important group. It's the most powerful marketing group on planet Earth. There's a hook, right? Now let me tell you a story about that group. Inside that group, all of the members who were able to write a check for $100,000 a year to sit in this group have a chance to present their best stuff. So for example, I presented blah, 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 and it was amazing, and so-and-so presented this, and so-and-so presented, and like, you know, I paid $100,000 to be in that room, but if I was you, I'd have paid at least $25,000 to be in a fly on the wall and just listen in, just to watch it, because that's how powerful it was, right? What am I doing? I'm telling you the story, I'm giving you the epiphany of like, oh my gosh, I wish I was in that room. Like if I could just be in fly on the wall, like imagine what I would have learned in there. And I said, and the coolest thing is that all those video recordings are here on this phone. So when you have this phone, it was like you were flying the wall. You have everything there. Boom. Okay? So now all of a sudden, these marketing videos, the value goes up because of the story I told. Okay? And so when I'm doing this kind of thing, there should be a hook and a story for each component of this offer. And depending on how I'm selling it, we're going to get in the unboxing funnel here in a second, but depending on how I'm selling it is how much time I'll spend on this, right? I may spend a sentence telling the hook and the story. I might be spending 30 minutes if I'm on a webinar. It just depends on the type of funnel we're using, okay? All right, so hook, story, offer. So what I want to transition to now that you kind of understand that, because this is happening everywhere, okay? I'll kind of do a high level overview really quick for you. So if you look at like a traditional funnel, right, there's the first step in any funnel is traditionally like the ad, right? So somebody's going to click on an ad that they see, okay? So in the ad, I got to have a hook. And usually there's some kind of story, and the offer's from the click, right? So I'm kind of weaving this thing into the whole thing, okay? So I'll show you some links to some ads that I ran, but recently I was running an ad to a squeeze page. So I was running an ad on Facebook Live. The headline said, 2 awesome gifts for you today. My new book, download it for free, and something else cool. Mwahaha. Is it okay if I over-deliver? Smiley face, okay? So there's a hook, right? And there's a cheesy, dorky one, but there's a hook. People are like, wait, what? Anyone who's not written a book, like, oh, I get the next one for free? Oh, I want it, like, there's the hook, right? The hook right there was like the headline of the ad. Then there's a video of me telling the story about the offer, okay? Then I told people, hey, here's the offer. Go to this page right now, you can get it for free. So hook, story, offer, all happened in the ad. Then they clicked on the link in the ad and took them over to the landing page, okay? The landing page, guess what? there's a hook on this page. The hook says, Marketing Secrets Black Book, 90-day marketing secrets that will change your business and it will change your life. Enter your email address below. Okay, so that's the hook, right? So it's like, there's 90-day marketing secrets. So there's the hook right here, is in the headline. Okay, there's a big, huge picture of the book, which also is like a hook, like, oh, I want that thing. It's hooking and making them want it. And the story is, want to know how we took ClickFunnels from 0 to over $100 million in sales in just 3 short years? To get your free copy of the Marketing Secrets Black Book. So it's short, it's a 1-sentence story, right? There's a story like, oh, I do want to know that, right? Increase the value. Suddenly, this one from be like an ebook, so like, wait, it's an ebook of how Russell went from 0 to $100 million. Boom, it increased the value of it, right? So increase the value. They put in their email address, and they say thank you, put the email, and they go to the thank you page where I just give them the stuff that, down links what they got, okay? So it's a traditional squeeze page funnel we talked about in module number 1, okay? But notice how I did hook, story, offer, and everything. Hook, story, offer happened, yeah, they clicked on it, hook, story, and the offers to get the thing, they opt in, and then boom, then I gave them the thing, okay? Now, just for numbers purposes, when we launched this, first 2 weeks, we got 38,000 people from this ad to come here and to give me their email address. Now, if you do the math from yesterday's, or from module number 1's training, 38,000 people that gave me an increase of $38,000 a month in my recurring, or in my income, right? Because I had 38,000 people to my list, okay? It all came off of hook, story, offer, gave them the offer, boom. Like that's the magic, you guys, okay? I picked a funnel, the science, and then I got to do the art, which is this kind of stuff, the story. I weave the art into it. Now you have the art and the science, and boom, that's the magic, okay? A lot of people struggle with this because I think a lot of us are very right brain, left brain, right? Like some of us are very much in like the analytical number side, and some are very much in the story, like creative side. And it's a blend of those two things. So you have to understand that. You may need to find a partner and maybe hire somebody who's good at the piece that you're not as good at. But that's kind of the magic. There's the art and the science of it, okay? Hook, story, offer. And so that's happening over and over and over again. Now, in module number 1, we talked about 7 different types of funnels, okay? And so every funnel I create still starts with this. It's like, what's the offer, okay? My goal is to sell ClickFunnels, right? Like that's my main core company, so I'm trying to sell. So my number 1 thing right here is always gonna be ClickFunnels. So I'm gonna write ClickFunnels. This is the number 1 thing I'm trying to sell, okay? So I'm like, okay, I can sell software, but like, if I'm going to sell the software, like what else people need to be able to have success? I'm like, okay, well, if you have software, it's good, but it's also good to have like the training. So the Funnel Builder Secrets training that you guys are going through right now. So FBS. So there's training. Okay, there's training. So what else people need to be successful? They have software, they got training. What else do they need to be successful? And say, okay, well, people probably need traffic. They may not know how to get traffic into their funnel. So I'm going to pull that as part of the offer. I'm going to have something traffic related. So maybe it's a course or software, but there's traffic. And then what else do they need? Oh, well, they need to understand like copywriting and how to tell stories, stuff like that. So maybe I'll throw an expert secrets book, maybe some training, right? So I have expert secrets / storytelling stuff. And then like, oh, they need to understand the strategy. So maybe I'll put in like .com secrets, and I'll and some of the this is story, this is like the art and the science, right? So here's the science stuff. And then I'm gonna put it, so start building this offer, right? And so in a dream world, like this offer is so good, everyone has to say yes to it. That's what I'm trying to create. It's like how to make this most amazing offer ever, okay? Now, depending on the type of funnel I'm using, if you remember module number 1, we talked about the different goals, right? So here's our goals. We've got, I wanna try to get leads. I wanna try to sell something. Or I wanna try to do an event, okay? Now, if I'm going to do an event, typically on an event, if I'm getting someone on a webinar, I can sell something for more expensive, right? So in an event, in a webinar or an automated webinar, I'm going to take this whole thing right here, and that's what I'm going to sell. Because if I do a webinar, I have someone on with me for an hour, where I'm able to give the hook, tell the stories, and make the offer. In an hour, I have more time to tell the stories and really increase the value of everything. I'm going to sell this whole thing at once. Can I do that right now? Okay. If you got my webinar and you probably came through it for $2,000, I sell this big, huge kit for $2,000. And yeah, for $2,000 for this whole system. In fact, most of you guys who are watching this probably bought from that, okay? And does this work? Like I've sold literally tens and tens of millions of dollars of this one offer I created to get people in ClickFunnels, okay? So if I'm ever doing an event, either a live event, a webinar, auto webinar, I'm always selling the full offer as a stack, okay? So I know that this is the offer, I'm selling the full offer, and then it's like what the funnel that's gonna sell that offer, okay? Now let's just say like that's one way, that's one type of funnel, right? I'm gonna do webinars, sell ClickFunnels. But then it's like, okay, well, how else can I get people into my business? Like I know I need to generate leads, so what could I do? What could I do? And it's like, okay, well, how do I take this offer here and how do we unbox it? I call this an unboxing. So let me write that here. Unboxing. Okay, so I take this offer, and if I'm gonna make a different type of funnel, I'm gonna unbox, I'm gonna pull pieces out of it, okay? One of the best examples of this, I mentioned it in module number 1, but Trey Llewellyn has the #1, at the time they recorded, it's the #1 funnel inside of ClickFunnels. He was selling survival flashlights. Same thing he was selling Amazon prior, right? But if you look at that, like, he had this offer. I'll move these so you guys can see it. So he had this offer, so I'm gonna draw a picture of a box, right? And so in his offer, he had his flashlight. So here's the flashlight, which is worth something, right? And then he also had, if someone wants to buy this on Amazon, they might buy the carrying case, and then they might buy the extra battery life, and they might buy the warranty, and like, here's all the stuff somebody would potentially buy if they were to buy on Amazon, right? And they're gonna get this huge box of stuff in the mail, okay? Now the problem is if I try to sell this, like I could take that, in fact, I've seen Trey do it. I could take this whole offer right here, and if I spent 90 minutes or 60 minutes on a webinar, I could sell that as one big, huge offer. But sometimes it's harder to, like, depending, if I don't want to do a webinar, maybe people in my audience aren't going to sit on a 90-minute webinar and listen to me speak, but I still want to sell them. Like, how do I unbox the pieces of this offer and create a new funnel, right? So if you remember, we talked about the tripwire funnel, okay? One of these 3 funnels, a tripwire funnel. So tripwire funnel, remember the homepage is like, you have the most irresistible offer ever, the one that's like either free book or a free knife or a discounted flashlight or whatever, right? And the next page you have your upsell, and next page you have another upsell and another upsell. What unboxing is coming back here and saying, okay, inside of like what I'm normally selling, what sells the best? Like, what's the best selling, most sexy, awesome thing I have? So for Trey, it was the flashlight, right? So he took that, he unboxed it, pulled it out of this offer. He pulled that out, and boom, the flashlight became the first page in the funnel, the first thing he's selling in the funnel. Okay, it's like if someone buys a flashlight, what's the next thing they need? He's like, okay, what's the next thing he needs? Well, look at my offer. Like, what do people buy the most of? Like, well, the second thing they buy the most of is this, which is like the flashlight batteries. I don't know. So he's like, the upsell here is then I'm going to sell batteries. Okay. And then say, no, what's the next thing? And I'm unboxing and start pulling these pieces of the offer out, and I start breaking it out over multiple different pages in the funnel. Okay, does that make sense? So I'm unboxing this offer, I'm pulling the pieces out, and I start building those things into the funnel. Okay, so instead of me doing a webinar and for $2,000 selling this whole thing, if I was doing ClickFunnels, I might have it where I'm like, okay, the sexiest thing I have is ClickFunnels. So the homepage, I'm gonna give a free trial to ClickFunnels, which I do, by the way. Okay, and then I'm like, okay, now they've got that. Now I'm gonna upsell this training because they all need this training as well. So the next page of funnel could be like, cool, you took a free 2-week trial to ClickFunnels. If you want, with this Funnel Builder Secrets training, it's gonna show you exactly how to do everything and plug it all together. And if you click on the yes button down below, we're gonna bill you whatever, $497, $997, whatever the price is, and we're gonna add that to your order. And say yes, boom, and now they get that. And then the next page is like, cool, so you got ClickFunnels, you got Funnel Builder Secrets. The next thing you need is you need traffic to get into your funnels. So then I unbox, I pull that piece of the offer out, I plug it in, and that becomes the next part of the funnel, okay? And then I'm just lining things up. Okay, like that's what you guys understand is every funnel here is based on taking this offer slide, the stack slide, the thing you have here, and it's pulling the pieces out and putting them into a specific order, okay, and putting them into a logical sequence of events. That's the magic. So each of these, I want to make sure I explain this right, because if you really get this, if you really understand it, like this is the key to everything, you guys. Like it's funny because I don't feel like I'm that good at very many things. But this is it, like this is the piece I understand is like, how do I create a really good offer? And then based on that offer, what kind of funnel am I gonna use? And then I'm just pulling pieces out and putting them in logical sequential order. I always get people to ask me, okay, Russell, like, what should the price point be in my first upsell, my second upsell? I'm like, what should and it has nothing to do with that. It has 100% to do with logical sequencing of offers, okay? Like, imagine again, once again, somebody comes into your camping store, and if you know coming in, like, what's the #1 hottest product we have? For sure. If it's the survival flashlight, or maybe it's my book, or whatever, like the best thing you have is, and you had a salesperson meeting there, what would you do? Okay, I'd have someone walk in and be like, hey, welcome to whatever, Russell's survival shop. Have you been here before? And they're like, yeah, no, it's my first time. Like, cool. But our best selling product is a survival flashlight. Have you ever seen it before? Like, no, what is it? And you show them like, this is awesome. You want to hold it? Cool, check it out, right? As a salesperson, I'm going to show them the sexiest, most exciting thing to hook them initially, right? And then I'm going to tell them a story about it. Like, this is the survival flashlight. The coolest thing about it, it's got 2 million lumens, which is total technobabble. You don't understand it. But what that means is, let's say a deer or a bear is attacking you, shine that thing in their eyes, boom, they're gone. In fact, I had a buddy the other day who was getting attacked by a bear, shine the light, the bear disappeared and he was gone. Okay? The other cool thing about this flashlight, it's got this zapper thing. You can like, kill criminals and I don't know, whatever, right? They tell us something like, dang, that's awesome. It's like, so you want one? They're like, oh, heck yeah. So then they just said yes to that, right? And that's like, okay, you got that. And again, imagine we're one-on-one. Like, funnels are just like selling one-on-one. So cool, you got the flashlight. Like, you know, the other thing a lot of people ask for when they get the flashlight is they would need extra batteries because, you know, you don't want to be out camping and you run out. Would you like an extra battery? And like, oh, heck yeah, that'd be awesome. Cool, here's 2 extra batteries. Just throw it into your funnel as well. And then you want the warranty. The warranty extends it for, you know, 2-year warranty. Like, oh, sure, I'll do that. Cool. Hey, do you want, and you start taking them through this logical sequencing of events, okay? It's not about price points, like what price point goes first, second, third, fourth. It has 100% to do with the logical sequencing of events, okay? Imagine you have the stack slide for whatever you're selling and somebody's coming to you inside of your store. Just again, picture yourself in a store. That's exactly what's happening. Somebody here is clicking on a Facebook ad, they see your hook and they're coming into your world. All you're doing now is say, okay, if I'm talking to this person one-on-one, what's the first thing I want them to know? Okay, is the first thing for them to get their email address? Is the first thing for me to like try to sell them my free book? Is the first thing the free trial? Is like, where is it? And that's what I'm doing, and I'm taking somebody through that sequence, okay? So that's what the unboxing funnels, that's what you guys understanding is that it's literally just taking this offer, imagine this is the big box of stuff that you'd sell people at the highest level, and you're unboxing things to make these other types of funnels, okay? So for me, if somebody comes through a webinar event and they spend $2,000 to buy the Funnel Builder Secrets, this offer right here, if they were to go and they come through this funnel over here, where maybe they buy the Expert Secrets book, and then there's a training program and the ClickFunnels software and stuff like that, this offers the same thing they're buying here. It's just, it's broken out over multiple pages and just doing piece by piece by piece. And they may say yes to that and no to that and yes to this, whereas here they're getting the whole thing as one bundle. Does that make sense? And that's the big difference here in how you're doing things. Okay, lead funnels are the exact same thing. All I'm doing if I want somebody to opt in is I'm looking back here in my offer and like, what here can I give away for free to get somebody's email address? Like, what could I trade? If I sell the P.T. Barnum offer we talked about earlier, I'd be like, what would be the best thing? I'm like, oh, P.T. Barnum wrote a book called The Art of Money Getting, which is super cool. What if I just took that out of the offer and said, hey, give me your email address, I'll give you a free copy of P.T. Barnum's best-selling book, The Art of Money Getting. And they say, oh, that's awesome. They opt in, and the next page is like, cool, so now I know you like P.T. Barnum because you just asked for the free gift. When you buy the DVD from me right now, normally it's $20 on Amazon, but I sell for $100, but the cool thing is you get 5 other books from P.T. Barnum, plus you get this, plus you get this, plus you, boom, 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 and now I can sell the product right there. Okay, like that's the magic of how these funnels work, you guys. It's just understanding hook, story, offers, making the irresistible offer, whatever you're selling, figuring out the story behind it and the story behind these things, figuring out the right hooks, and you're just kind of rebuilding it in these kind of layouts. Okay, so again, if you look at all the different funnel types we talked about earlier in module number 1, we've got the squeeze funnel, we've got squeeze page, thank you page, right? You got the high ticket application page, you got squeeze page, app page, thank you page. Over here, you've got the 3 different ones. You've got tripwire. I know it's kind of goofy doodling. I'm not going to doodle them all out again, but you got those here. All those things are the same thing. It's saying, okay, the ad, what's the ad I'm getting somebody to click on? Okay, with the ad, I'm thinking, what's the hook? What's the story? What's the offer? Why should they click on this ad? What's the hook? What's going to grab them? Okay? And so what's funny is like when we drive ads, people are like, my ads aren't working, Russell, what do I do? I look at it, I'm like, well, the hook sucks. I wouldn't stop that either. Like, how do we make this sexier? And if I can't, then I got to find a new thing, right? So the first thing is looking at the hook. And then it's like, hey, you got my attention. Like the headline caught me or the video or something caught me. Like, what's the story? Like, why should I keep paying attention? And it's like, okay, let me tell you the story, right? And there's a little video. I think about this. How many times a day do you guys do this? When you're on Facebook or Instagram or Google, like this is happening to you every single day. Something happens on TV, commercials start playing, radio starts happening. All these advertising meetings are happening and everyone's trying to hook you. And so start paying attention, like which of the ones actually hook you? Like, why did I listen to that? They hook you with something and they tell you a story and they try to get you to do something. Hook, story, offer, hook, story, offer, hook, story. Like, start becoming aware of it. You'll see it over and over and over and over again. And the way you go from being broke to becoming insanely rich is becoming better at hooks, better at stories, and better at offers. Those are the 3 areas you have to become really, really good at. And then it's just putting them into the different pages, right? I know that, okay, the ads, hook, story, offer. Then landing a landing page. If it's a squeeze page, I'm trying to get the email address. Okay, pull something out. Boom, what's the story behind this? What's the hook? Okay, the hook is, hey, did you see The Greatest Showman? Do you know that P.T. Barnum is the greatest entrepreneur who ever lived? In fact, do you know he wrote a book called The Art of Money Getting that I can give you for free? If you want a free copy, just click on whatever.com. They go like, wow, I did watch P.T. Barnum. He's got a book called The Art of Money Getting? Like, that's awesome. Let me check it out. They click here, boom. Then the page is like, hey, if you want a free copy of The Art of Money Getting, give me your email address. I'm going to trade you in exchange for that. Okay? This book's amazing. It was published in 1914. I found it in the secret archives of the internet. I got the rights from Gutenberg Press, blah, 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 whatever it is, right? You tell the story. If you want this, opt in, I'll give it to you for free. Boom, okay? Now you're building a list, okay? Or if you're trying to sell something, take The Art of Money Getting. It's public domain, so you can republish it into a book and sell that for free plus shipping. And then from there, you take the next piece of the offer, you have the upsell, and you're just unboxing this offer and putting it in different ways. And that's it, you guys. Like that's really the magic. There's nothing more technical or more secret behind it. The people who win in this game simply are people who get better and better at creating better hooks, better stories, and better offers. Like I said, the pages in a funnel aren't complicated. Every funnel we've talked about, all 7 of the funnels, we've built the structure. Like the structure's done. You just got to pick which design you like the best. You click on it, and then it's you coming back and say, okay, what's my offer? What's the hook for this offer? What's the story? And you're weaving those things into it. Okay. And again, sometimes it's a video, sometimes it's a webinar, sometimes it's a long form sales letter that you're telling the story. It'll change based on different things, but that's the process. So what I want you guys doing and becoming super hyper aware of is in your everyday life, start looking for this. And the people who are the richest are the people who are the best at this. Like, that's it. I recommend getting on my webinars, getting other people's webinars, getting webinars in your industry, seeing how people make offers. Go and looking for opt-in funnels, people asking for email addresses. Look, like what are they trading me? What's the hook? What was the hook that got me to click on that ad? What was the hook that gave me that got me to give the email address? What was the story behind it? Why was I interested enough to actually give them my real email address instead of a fake email address? Like what was the story they told me that made me want to actually give them that? And what was the offer? And like if this was my offer, what can I do to make it even sexier, even more exciting, right? These are things you gotta start thinking about. And like I said, after you've got that, if you got hook, story, and offer, then it's picking the funnel type, and then you're just unboxing it, plugging the different pieces in, just like we kind of showed you here. So I hope that helps. This is the art side of the business. The science is simple. Here's the structure. The art is how we move people through it. And it all happens with hook, story, offer. Now again, if you want to become better at this, I recommend going to Expert Secrets book, because inside of here, we spend a lot of time focusing on figuring out the right hooks, a ton of time on story, like story structure. You know, I talked about the Epiphany Bridge here, which is the first phase. If you go in this book, it's going to give you the Epiphany Bridge script, which is actually, like, if you look at inside of Hollywood, I think like almost all movies have ever been successful in Hollywood all follow the exact same storyline. It's called The Hero's Two Journeys. In fact, after you learn about in this book, every movie you watch from now on will be ruined because you know exactly where the stories are going. But it doesn't matter if you're watching Rocky, Lightning McQueen, any of the Avenger movie, like every movie follows the exact same story pattern. So you understand that's like, okay, how do I tell these stories in a better way? The pattern's all inside the book here. So you just go through it and you're like, okay, I gotta start the backstory. Then from here I do this, and you just start telling your stories, and you become better and better. That's what this book's all about. This book also shows you how to do the presentation if you are doing an event funnel, okay? And so it shows you how to create this offer, how to do the event, how to sell, how to do the whole thing to sell it. But it also shows you how you can then unbox it and put it into a tripwire funnel, or to a product launch funnel, or to a opt-in funnel, whatever those other things are. We're just pulling pieces of the offer out to go and structure and create the sales message inside of your funnels. That's the game, you guys. Hook, story, offer. Hook, story, offer, over and over and over and over again. Anyway, for some of you guys, the first time you hear this, it's gonna be a lot. I understand that. That's why I recommend watching these things and then come back and watching them again and just keep kind of going through. So the more that these concepts get inside your mind, the better you're going to be at understanding it, and better you're going to be at doing it. And eventually this becomes second nature, where you're just like, this isn't working. Why not? Well, the hook's horrible. Let me change the hook. Let me change the hook. We had a squeeze page funnel we launched last week. I wasn't in the office for this, but they launched it, and it came back with a 4% opt-in rate. So 4% of people who hit the page actually gave the email address. And I was like, that's not good. I was like, what is that? I looked at the page and I was like, oh, well, the hook's not good. Like, there's no good hook. So I tweaked the hook, like literally took me, I don't know, 5 minutes. Changed the hook, went from a 4% opt-in rate to a 43% opt-in rate. More than 10x just by changing the hook a little bit, changing a couple words. Like, that's the magic of these things. Like, that'd be a 10 times increase in my pay. You always joke about, I have a lot of friends that are doctors and things like that, and they get paid really, really well, right? And I asked them, I said, if you want to double your income this week, or like if you want to double your income, what would you have to do? And they're like, oh, well, double my income, it's not going to be easy, but I have to go back to, I have to become a specialist. I have to probably go to 4 more years of medical school, and then I'm going to have to do residency, and it's like a 6 to 8 year process to double their income. I was like, huh. And they're like, why? What do you have to do to double your income? And I was like, literally, I just got to tweak my hook a little bit, right? If we went from 4% to 40%, it's 10 times more leads I come in. Like that's more than doubling my income, right? That's a huge thing. And so like these little tweaks, these little things, if we become better at creating hooks, better at telling the story, better at creating offers, each of those little things, it's like these little hinges that swing huge doors. So it's worth you guys understanding this and mastering it. We're going to talk more about funnel hacking in module number 3, but the biggest reason why I do talk about funnel hacking is going looking at what other people are doing. Like look at all of the offers in your marketplace. Look at the offers in other people's marketplaces. See what they're doing, why they're doing it. Because the more you see, you're like, huh, those guys right there are making $3 million a year. Their offer is this. It's just this, 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 and this. Like, I'm in a different industry, but what if I did this, like similar things, but I did it my way, right? And you start learning what offers work and you model them, okay? You figure out the best way to tell the story, and then you become a master at understanding story, and the more stories you tell, the better you're gonna get at it, and figure out the right way to tell the hooks. Like the better you get at those things, it's these little tiny hinges that swing huge doors. So it's worth the investment of time, worth the investment of energy, worth watching and looking and studying, and the biggest thing for right now is just notice, like slow down as you're scrolling through your feeds, slow down as you're clicking on emails. Look at like the next email you open from a marketer, like what was the hook that got you to open the email, right? The subject line's the hook. And what was the story inside the email? And did the story get you to take the offer? The offer is to click on the email, right? So next time you open an email, like just do it. And then if you open the email, you read it and you click, then stop, like, oh my gosh, they got me hook, story, offer. What was the hook that got me to open? Read the subject line, okay, cool. What was the story they told in the email? Okay, cool. And what was the offer? They wanted me to come here to get a free thing or to opt in for a webinar, whatever it was, right? And so you're looking at those things consistently over and over and over again, and that's how you start reverse engineering it, right? I didn't become good at this by going to school. I became good at like just studying, like, why did I open that email? Why did I click on that banner ad? Why did I register for that webinar? Why did I actually show up this time versus last time I didn't? Right? And I start thinking through those things, and then it's coming back, oh, well, this is why. Like, I should be doing the same thing when I'm doing it with my audience and my people. So there you go, guys. That's module number 2 here. Hook, story, offer, and the unboxing funnel. Module number 3, we're going to be going into funnel hacking, which is, again, going to be reverse engineering other people to learn what they're doing, and then also going into actually editing the pages inside ClickFunnels and understanding that as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this module. Again, there's more follow-up training to go with this module to kind of break things down in more detail inside the members area. Make sure you go check it out. With that said, I'll talk to you guys on module number 3.